much more breaking news. Let's go to Governor Hochul talking about congestion pricing.
Our Director of State Operations, Stacy Lynch, the Chief of Staff, Blake Washington, our Budget Director, Brian Mahana, our Counsel, and Anthony Hogerby, our Communications Director. I want to applaud all of them for their incredible work. And my incredible Commissioner of DOT, Marie-Therese Dominguez, thank you for all you do for us. Jackie Bray, our Commissioner of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. And, of course, I want to thank Jano Lieber for his leadership at the MTA at a time when it is direly needed. So thank you to Jano Lieber as well. A special thanks to my partner in state government partners, Majority Leader Andre Stewart-Cousins and Speaker Kyle Hasty and the members of the Senate and the Assembly. I'm grateful for all of them here today. And, of course, representation from the City of New York, Mira Joshi. I want to thank our Deputy Mayor for joining us here today as well, and New York City Transportation Commissioner Idanis Rodriguez as well. So welcome to all of them. And to all of our staunch advocates, our partners on the ground who are supportive during this process. From day one, I have made affordability for New York families a top priority. I always have, and I always will, fight to put more money in the pockets of everyday New Yorkers. That's why back in June, I stood up on behalf of hardworking families and simply said no. No to a new $15 congestion toll that at that particular time was just too much. Too many people were worrying about high costs, groceries, rent, childcare. These are real challenges for our families. And launching a toll that high really would have hurt a working mom or working dad trying to make ends meet, especially someone driving in from a transportation desert or far from outside the center of the city. As governor, it is my job to make decisions that take into account the needs of all working New Yorkers. So I made the decision to put the congestion pricing program on pause while we devise a different path forward. State law requires that congestion pricing simultaneously raise money for the MTA and drive down traffic congestion. These are important priorities. But I believe that no New Yorker should have to pay a penny more than absolutely necessary to achieve these goals. And $15 was too much. And I'm proud to announce we have found a path to fund the MTA, reduce congestion, and keep millions of dollars in the pockets of our commuters. Under this plan, the MTA will implement a congestion pricing plan with a reduced daytime toll of $9 beginning in January. You heard that correctly. It was $15 before, and now it is $9. That is a 40% reduction. This lower toll will save daily commuters nearly $1,500 annually. And that kind of money makes a big difference for our families. And there'll be further discounts for low-income New Yorkers. Car owners who make less than $50,000 a year will get a 50% discount on every toll after their 10th toll on the month. In addition, after 9 p.m., the toll is discounted even further. This is to encourage nighttime deliveries in particular and help reduce congestion during the daytime hours. Here's the most critical part. This $9 daytime toll is enough to secure the $15 billion in MTA funding that congestion pricing was intended to support. We're still getting the $15 billion to fund the MTA, and drivers are paying $6 less. This lower toll will still allow us to accomplish all, and I mean all, of the goals of congestion pricing. New modern signals, the long-awaited 2nd Avenue subway, new electric buses, elevators, and this will generate major investments for our suburban commuters as well, on top of the $800 million we've already invested to boost the LIRR service by 40%, and the work that Metro North is doing across Westchester, Dutchess, and Putnam counties. We'll also begin to drive down gridlock and the emissions as intended. And we'll deliver major environmental improvements for places like the Bronx, so that lower-income communities will not only benefit from improved public transit service, but also cleaner air. And today, I'm directing the MTA to make major service enhancements to at least 23 bus routes in the outer boroughs. This would mean running buses more frequently along those routes. Now, this is all an acknowledgement, as we know, that the MTA is absolutely vital for our region's economy. Without it, people can't get to work, children can't get to school, and our state would grind to a halt. Years and years of disinvestment and underinvestment in the MTA by previous administrations ends today. Yes, it's hard. But that's also today why I'm announcing my strong support for the MTA's 2025 to 2029 capital plan to ignore the challenge of funding improvements to a 100-year-old aging infrastructure would be nothing but an abdication of my duties as governor, and I will not do that. The capital plan will help fund projects that I launched, such as the Interborough Express. This project alone will save commuters between Brooklyn and Queens at least 30 minutes each way. It's a perfect example of our vision to build a safe, reliable, high-performing transit system that New Yorkers deserve. MTA Chair and CEO Jana Lieber will discuss more of the particulars of the capital plan in a moment. And I'm directing the MTA also to improve efficiencies, drive significant cost savings to protect New York taxpayers. And we'll continue to work closely with our federal, state legislators, and our city partners to close any gaps in our budget negotiations later in the year, just as we did last year when I structured a funding plan to keep the MTA from going off the fiscal cliff. Yet another example of my strong commitment to public transit. And I'll continue insisting upon efficiencies and savings in the MTA in the years ahead. Let me close with this. Congestion pricing is fundamentally about meeting three critical objectives: ensuring our commuters can rely on safe subways and commuter trains now and into the future, ensuring we can decongest our clogged streets, improving the quality of life for residents, the safety of pedestrians, and access for emergency vehicles, and ensuring we reduce vehicle emissions to enhance our air quality. We know our downstate businesses and our economy depend on the MTA to transport more than 6 million commuters every single day. Safeguarding the long-term viability of our subway and commuter rails, the safety of our streets, the health of our environment, and the strength of our economy, these are all hard to do, but they're necessary. And as New York City enters into a realm where no other American city has gone before, recall that the journey was first proposed decades ago. And this has been the law of our state for the last 5 years. When I announced the pause, I spoke about working New Yorkers, hard-working New Yorkers. And I said I would fight to put as much money back in their pockets as I possibly could. Some skeptics predicted we'd never find a path that would lower tolls while still addressing congestion and the important funding of public transit that millions of New Yorkers rely on. But that's exactly what we did. It was a challenge. But as a result, New Yorkers will benefit from millions of dollars in reduced costs. That's my commitment to New Yorkers. And I might not always take the easy path, but I'll always take the right path for the people of this great state now and into the future. Thank you. Now let me turn it over to the MTA CEO and Chairman, Jana Lieber. Jana.
Governor Hochul, thank you for your work over the past few months to resolve the issue and your determination to reach a successful conclusion so that we can start dealing with the problem, which is epidemical, of the insane congestion that continues to clog Manhattan, and simultaneously to deal with the challenges of funding our beloved mass transit system. I know that the press is going to focus a lot on congestion pricing, but I want to start out by saying how important your endorsement of the MTA's 2025 to 29 capital program is. Because of the action you are taking, New Yorkers can count on new train cars, more service and more reliable service because of new signals, structures, elevated structures and tunnel structures that, God forbid, don't fall down, that we're investing in systems and turnstiles that will prevent fare evasion, and so much more. All of that is made possible by your endorsement of the MTA capital program, together with your partners in the legislature, who I know are committed to funding it. So I just want to start out by acknowledging that you stood up for transit in 2023 when you solved the fiscal crisis on the operating budget, and today we're here to celebrate that both with your action on congestion pricing and the MTA capital plan, you have stepped up for transit yet again. But to the topic of the day, listen, the negative effects of traffic can be seen everywhere, whether it's people stuck in gridlock, missing time with families, businesses, and many of the business leaders are here today because they support congestion pricing, businesses who are having huge extra costs because they have material deliveries, and tradesmen who are spending hours stuck in traffic. Buses that are slower than walking, or car crashes, God forbid, that kill and maim New Yorkers because there's so much congestion and road rage. That's not the New York that we all want to live in. New Yorkers want cleaner and safer streets and a transit system that works for them. They want train stations that are accessible for everyone. And again, thank you, Governor, for your support of the capital plan. Thank you. And, you know, the basics of human existence are at stake here. Are we going to allow New York City people to get ambulances that can get to hospitals? That's what's at stake here. Cop cars can get to crimes in progress. The basics. That is what solving the congestion pricing issue means to New York. We want to make New York a better place to live. And we hear a lot from politicians about local control and quality of life. Those are the issues that have been at stake in this debate. Anywhere else in the state and in the region, if ambulances couldn't get to hospitals with people dying in the back, or if crimes were in progress and cop cars or fire vehicles couldn't get to fires, I guarantee you that those local officials would speak up for their communities and want the state to get involved. Why should New York be any different? Why shouldn't we be able to take action to protect our economy, our environment, our safety, and our quality of life? Now, from the minute the tolling system is turned on, we're going to be watching the conditions very closely to see if we can achieve the benefits of congestion pricing as we work our way, starting at the lower toll. But we want to see if we can achieve those benefits very quickly. And we also want to see the benefits, not just for the environment and congestion and air quality, but also for transit. The MTA is ready to do its part to use the money that we're going to receive from the capital program and congestion pricing efficiently to build out the improvements that this program will support. We have been delivering projects on time and on budget again and again and again. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The L train, Long Island Railroad's 10-mile-long third-track project, the Metro North Viaduct, the miraculous project that is rebuilding the Metro North Viaduct in East Harlem without stopping service. These projects are all being done hundreds of millions of dollars under budget and on time. That's the new MTA, the business-like MTA, and we all intend to keep delivering transformative projects under Governor Hochul's leadership for the 80% of New York commuters and the 90%, what am I saying? The 90% of New York commuters who use transit instead of driving. It's 90% of New York commuters who come to the Central Business District on transit. A couple of those are walkers or cyclists, but they ain't drivers. So thank you again, Governor, and thanks also to Mayor Adams and Deputy Mayor Meera Joshi, who's also an MTA board member, wears many hats. To our partners at the State Department of Transportation, under Marie-Therese Dominguez, and especially to the partners at US DOT who have worked with us as we figured this out. These are people who care about the future, who love New York, and I also have to give a shout out to the advocates who have kept hope alive as this issue has been worked through. You are the reason that we all are so hopeful about our ability to improve life in New York, not just for transit riders, but for everybody, and we bless you. So thank you for that. I just want to finish by turning it over to my partner in every way, the Deputy Mayor of the City of New York, Meera Joshi. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lieber. Like Midtown traffic, this effort has been stuck in gridlock for decades. And unsticking this jam hasn't always been easy, but few things truly worthwhile ever are. And today marks real progress forward. I want to extend my sincere thanks to the Governor, Kathy Hochul, for her tireless work on getting it right. To the FHWA, the MTA, TBTA, New York City DOT, New York State DOT, that's a lot of alphabet soup. So more importantly, to the thousands of civil servants who spent time, hours, painstaking analysis, slow and steady running of the ball that helped us arrive at this moment. We're stronger together. We arrive at the best outcomes when we're unified. We catch our blind spots, and we find new ways to solve tough, intractable problems. That's what's been done here today and over the past few months. This plan will do all things. It will reduce traffic in the Central Business District, which will have a real impact for our carbon emissions. It will provide long-term investment in the bedrock of our city's economy, our public transit, creating good green jobs. And it will give everyone time to get used to the new reality. Having a transition plan is fundamental to the success of any major change. New Yorkers will look back on this moment with pride, a moment where we chose to do hard things that make our city a better place, not just for us, but for our children and for our grandchildren. When we banned smoking in restaurants long ago, 20 years ago, and in bars, people certainly thought it was the end of New York City nightlife. Fast forward today, our restaurants are thriving, our air is cleaner, and we've saved tens of thousands of lives from lung cancer. More importantly, we created a healthier new normal for this generation. We once questioned this big culture change, and now we celebrate it. That's how this moment will be remembered too. And I also want to thank the governor. Oh, before we get to the other things, in addition to congestion pricing, I think I want to also call out what is in this package for the funding of environmental justice movements in the borough of the Bronx. Over $100 million will be spent funding reducing polluting trucks that travel our city streets, especially in the Bronx. And it also buys that borough additional green space and an asthma center. I want to thank the governor also, separate from congestion pricing, for including in the budget common sense measures that will keep traffic moving. Up until now, Midtown traffic has hurt all of us. It takes away minutes, it takes away hours, those hours add up to days and months, those days and months add up to real dollars that are not in our pockets. Today marks that turning point. So as Mayor Adams said yesterday, this is what leadership looks like. Thank you.
That concludes our program. Thank you for joining us. We ask that our guests please make your way to the lobby and the media team to stay.
This has been Breaking News.